The brief intervention step of the SBIRT process is simply a short motivational conversation to provide feedback to a patient and enhance their motivation in the direction of change. It draws from the spirit and the practice of motivational interviewing. It can be helpful when talking with patients about alcohol and drugs to shift the way we think about it. And instead of asking ourselves, why isn't this person motivated to change? Instead ask, so what is motivating them? Or what are they motivated to change in their life right now? The brief negotiated interview model is one way to provide a brief intervention, and it fits well into a busy primary care practice. The 4 steps are: number 1, raise the subject. Number 2, provide feedback about alcohol and health. Number 3, enhance a person's motivation using specific motivational interviewing techniques. And step 4, negotiate a plan and advise the patient about next steps. In step 1, you simply gain a person's permission to have a conversation about alcohol. You could say something like, would you mind taking a few minutes to talk with me about your screening results? Or would it be okay if we talked for a few minutes about how alcohol can affect your health? In step 2, you provide feedback to the patient. Some of the ways to do that include to review their reported substance use and their screening results, to compare their reported alcohol use to the moderate limits for adults, to provide feedback on health or other potential effects of risky use of alcohol, to link their alcohol use to the purpose of the visit, such as if they have a chronic disease, for example, or to offer educational resources. A couple of important points about this step. First, don't give too much information. The idea is to personalize a little bit of information, and then second, always elicit the person's response to the feedback you've provided, such as by asking, so how do you think this applies to you? Or simply, what do you think about this information? Step 3 is where you explore ambivalence and enhance a person's motivation in the direction of change. There are several specific techniques that you can use for step 3. One is to explore the pros and the cons. This is a way to highlight ambivalence and bring it out into the open and normalize it, since everyone experiences ambivalence when trying to make a change. You'd start by asking, so what do you like about your current level of drinking? And let the patient respond. Then follow that with, what are some of the not so good things about your current level of drinking? And then let them respond. And then you summarize both sides. So on the one hand, this is the good, and on the other hand, this is the not so good. Another technique for enhancing motivation is to assess a person's readiness or the importance of making a change, using a 0 to 10 ruler. It would sound like this. On a scale from 0 to 10, how ready are you right now to make a change in your level of drinking? Or how important is it to you right now to cut back on how much alcohol you drink? Let the person pick a number and then respond by asking them, what made you choose that number? Or what made you choose the number you did and not a lower number? By asking and responding in this way, you give the person the opportunity to talk about any reasons that change might be a good idea. Another way to enhance motivation is to explore and assess confidence. Although ambivalence is a major reason that people have difficulty changing, many people also experience a lack of confidence and are not very hopeful that they're able to change. So it can be very helpful to explore their confidence, again using a 0 to 10 ruler. And it would sound like this. On a scale from 0 to 10, how confident are you that you could make a change in your drinking if you decided to? Let the person choose a number and then respond by asking, what could help you feel more confident? Or what are some of the specific challenges you would experience if you tried to cut back on your drinking? Or what could help you move to a higher number on that 0 to 10 scale? And here's a few more good questions you can ask people as a way to enhance motivation. How does your current pattern of drinking fit with what matters most to you in your life right now? Or how would you know if your drinking was becoming a problem for you? Or let's say you did decide to quit or cut back on your drinking. How would you go about doing it? What's the first step you would take? And then step 4 of the brief negotiated interview. This is where you negotiate and advise the patient about next steps. The best way to start off this step is to simply ask the patient, what are some of your thoughts about our discussion today? Then move on to negotiating a goal and some next steps. What are some steps you could take to make a change or to cut back on how much alcohol you drink? Even if abstinence would be the ideal, harm reduction is an appropriate issue to explore around alcohol and drugs. It's also very useful to assist a person in developing a plan and explore how it's going to be challenging and offer input on how they can address those challenges. Then summarize the plan and the next steps they're going to take, and finally thank the person for having the conversation.